Welcome to the Alchemy of Transformation podcast.
I'm Anouk, a transformational coach, multidisciplinary artist, speaker, and teacher.
And I'm Elijah, a multidimensional coach, a transformational artist, speaker, and teacher.
We are two source workers deeply connected with our cosmic origins. We are all about incarnating our higher purpose into our lives and helping others do the same.
In our discussions, we will share our favorite pieces of wisdom and tools that we personally use to stay aligned and get the best out of ourselves.
We hope that you are as excited as we are to deeply explore the mysteries of the multiverse.
Are you ready?
Let's dive. So, welcome to Alchemy of Transformation podcast. And today, as you can see, we are physically together, which will not be the case often, at least for the next few months, maybe years. But I'm visiting Quebec. So here we are in the same room.
In the same room with the same mic and the same camera, sharing more awesome conversations. Well, I find them awesome, and
I do too if I'm having them.
Yeah, awesome conversations about transformation, personal transformation, which turns out eventually to be collective transformation. But it has to start by us. We are the drop in the big ocean, so we're the part of the ocean we can take care of.
Exactly.
And talking about ocean and water, it's raining outside, so hopefully you won't hear it too much. Hopefully it won't interact with the Wi-Fi. And here we are in a fall afternoon,
talking about playfulness. Yeah, so we thought that playfulness is a key to our self-transformation journey, and we definitely aim to embody it in our own lives. So yeah, we're gonna dive into this topic deeper.
Yeah. It sounded like you were gonna say something.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, being playful with interrupting each other. And being playful with the interruptions of life in general also, right? I think when we talk about the alchemy of transformation, what is this transformation? Again, it's a transformation towards a self that is more expressed, more authentic, more free, more connected to a higher sense of self rather than a smaller sense of self, a more expanded sense of self rather than a contracted sense of self. But it's also accepting that there are times we are contracted, right? That's part of the transformation, is accepting what is. And sometimes it's a deep contraction, and sometimes it's a deep expansion. And playfulness is kind of like a state of being, right? And as kids, we were in touch with this super quickly. It was part of our nature to be in the imagination, in the present moment. In a way, if I may, it's like we had less worries, less things to think about, less shoulds to absorb, to observe. And so we were more free. And I guess part of the transformation that we require as adults is to be more present to the balance of all of these different aspects of us. One of them being, well, I should really be serious and get these things done. Which kills playfulness a lot of the time.
And also kills happiness. All the things, maybe I'm gonna go backward a little bit, but as you were talking, I connected with just having a blank right now. I connected with an idea that I'm losing
Contraction, expansion,
Uh-huh.
playfulness, the shoulds was before that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Accepting the contraction.
Yeah. Oh, I lost it.
It'll come back at the right time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody said to me that sometimes when we forget what we're going to talk about, somebody said to me, some awesome spiritual dude on YouTube.
Wow.
Somebody, we're chatting it up. He mentioned that sometimes we forget things because a part of us kind of died. A part of us just kind of like had to let it go.
Evaporated.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you revive that, it will come back. It will come back. Being playful with our moments of forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness and forgiveness. I mean, being playful is also being okay with imperfection. And just allow ourselves to explore and be spontaneous. And yeah, playfulness is not about looking good, which we spend a lot of time and energy on as ego-centered human beings. So to me, playfulness is about reconnecting with our just natural way of being.
Yeah. And I'm reminded of the energy that comes with playfulness. The when we're in playfulness, we tend to have a natural source of energy. We tend to have this natural motion, this life force moving through us, bringing ideas, imagination, quick responsiveness, a dynamism to be with what is, and yeah, it's like being in the present moment.
Totally.
Right?
And follow our inspirations instead of what we think we should do, as we already said.
Which can be really hard. And like I was sharing with Anouk how right now we're in a time of autumn, which brings us closer to winter, which is a moment where we naturally contract in the northern atmosphere where we are at. In the northern atmosphere, in the winter, we have less sun, we have less prana, we have less vitality, and that brings us more internally, and we might have a little less energy at those moments. And I think we have to be careful in how we manage ourselves and not confuse our biology, having less energy, having less capacity to be awake or motivated. Maybe we're more grumpy, and like to just to pay attention to that. I feel really close in my heart to the demands, like close to humans who fall prey to the high demands of society and forget the playfulness, forget that there's a life outside of the shoulds. And especially in this time where our biology is like slightly contracting and less vitality, we still demand ourselves so much. And when we demand ourselves so much and we have less energy, are we going to be able to be playful? Are we going to be able to connect with the purity of the present moment? So, like, for example, why is it so important to have playfulness in our life? And like, why should we create a priority for this? Why should I take a pause and check in with myself? Have I been playful enough today? I want to explore that a little bit.
Yeah. What comes to me, I think it was my initial idea, even though I'm not sure about it, but this 3D reality is ultimately an illusion. And it's an illusion. It won't last. And to me, it's a game. It's a game for expansion of consciousness, and it's a co-creation game that we, what's the word? Like we came not on purpose, but we decided to come here. It was a sovereign decision, and we are the creator of our reality, so we basically have the choice. I mean, we all have examples around us of people who live their life being unhappy and unfulfilled and on whatever, but we've got the choice. So, and I'm it's the kind of thing that when you take the time to connect within with that energy, you just know. And when I take the time to connect with the energy of my soul, I know that I was so excited to take on that journey. Joy is our natural state of being. And then because this is an illusion and we decided to forget for some reason, which is not the purpose of that conversation.
Not today.
We get caught into the illusion and we get lost into it. But we, as I said, we have the choice. So I rather prefer to live this life in joy and excitement and playfulness instead of with a sense of obligation and heaviness and basically living my life in survival mode.
Yeah, so much so, totally. We don't want to be in survival mode. We have a choice. I mean, of course, there's physical needs that look really real that we do have to care for to take care of the first basis. But after that, I do, you talked about being soul and making a choice to come down here. And the word make believe came. Like kids will make believe. Oh, well, make believe you're mommy and daddy and I'm the kid and da 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 da. And that's kind of what we forget easily. Like this veil of forgetfulness when we come to incarnate. Incarnating is I'm going to make believe I'm this fragmented avatar for a moment who's forgotten the higher levels of my consciousness and capacity. I'm going to make believe I'm on Earth in this time space, and I'm going to try and create whatever I decided to come and create at that moment. And I think that's it's like how we are here. We are making believe that this is a reality because we've all consented to this reality. And so now I'm all serious being my avatar. I have to be really, really this character. Bah, bah, bah. And the conductor, the ego, gets so into this role and he has to play it with such perfection. It just there's no much room for something that might actually have more power, because our ego doesn't connect to the soul's power. So when we stop making belief, when we start making real, this is when we're in trouble. We're certain that life is linear, things are distinct, and there's a plan. But that can be the game you're playing. No one in the entire universe is gonna tell you to not play the game you want to play. But maybe you can want many different kinds of games or educate yourself in the possibility of games. And to be in playfulness is that inner state that brings open the present moment and bring in the dynamic response with the universe, with the situation, with the car accident, with the mailman, with the barking dog, with whatever the situation, taking a step back and remember that I'm making belief, and that right now, as a creator of the highest level, I can choose what game this is.
Yeah, and I see it on the very short term and also on the long term. Here and now, I always have the choice of my attitudes, and it's changing my experience of reality on the short term. And then if I embrace that way of being in general in my life, and I connect with my joy and my bliss, I'm gonna emanate this as a frequency, and I'm gonna create a reality in consequence. So it's also a pathway to live our best life.
Yeah. Vibrationally, it keeps us on a higher level, and it keeps us open, so then we can receive new energies, new ideas, new possibilities,
experiences, relationships, because the life we are experiencing is the result of the vibration we've been emanating in the past. But we always have the choice to elevate. We all always have the choice to adjust and then create a new reality for ourselves.
Yeah. And you're making me think of, like, our past selves from years ago or minutes ago, that, like, from moment to moment, our consciousness is expanding and contracting. And sometimes we were in a contracted state when certain things happened, and it left more of a contracted sense of self memory block somewhere. And it is creating who we are today amongst all the many different ones. And sometimes in the healing process, in the alchemy of self-transformation, we need to go back to those moments where we had a contracted mind and we created a memory from a contracted inner state. Well, in the healing process, sometimes we need to go visit those places and kind of decontract, de-stress,
dissolve.
Répète, c'est
dissolve.
Dissolve, yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, I heard soul, re-soul, re-soul, but because in a way that's what it is. In our contracted state, soul, higher self, divine energy had less doors and windows open to come in and imbue our consciousness. And so, like, I think when we go visit those inner states that were contracted, to sit ourselves within this place of playfulness, rather than, oh, I have suffered in the past so much and I must go heal, poor me. Well, I mean, yeah, there's a part of that. So that might be the motivator. But with time, we realize that it is such a powerful experience to go be with these contracted pieces, such transformation and regaining of these soul aspects, this divine self aspect that weren't able to be in that memory. We do it now, and we do it from this playfulness. So I'm going to make believe I'm a high vibration love who intentions to be playfully playing with the player who is contracted, make believe that they're contracted, and I'm going to playfully bring it love. I'm going to playfully being its friend, its inner ally, its inner parent, and be like, what do you need? And I'm mentioning this because anyways we go see these contracted pieces are probably really good with an intent of healing. We have to be careful that we're not in an intent of re-wounding. See how right I am to be a victim. We have to, because every time we go revisit these memories, we add on to it. So when we add on to it, let's make sure we do it from a place of an expanded space. And maybe we can make believe. Maybe you're not in a place where you're like, oh, I'm so connected to my inner power. Maybe you're like, this fucking sucks and I have to go heal now. Well, maybe you can remember to be playful about it.
Or at least sometimes it's hard to not identify with those vibrations that are still alive within us, but there is still this capacity to take a distance and also connect with this higher purpose of being freer and bringing in more love and joy. So again, coming back to that playfulness that allows us to live our best life.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to challenge something you said earlier. I love how a lot of the times we're on the same wavelength, and I was almost scared to not be of the same opinion, but I'm like, no, it's even better to talk about these different opinions and stuff. But when when you say, and I think I might have said it too, that our natural state is joy, I disagree. I believe our natural state is nothing. And from nothing, we have all possibilities. And from that place of being a creator that can create from nothing, I choose joy. I choose uplifting emotions that will bring my consciousness to be expanded, and to live from that place. But the reason why I empower myself with the sense that I'm a creator that comes from nothing, because to say we come from joy feels like it's not in my understanding of unity consciousness. It's putting something as a priority, as a one other than the others. And it also, when I am not in joy, it adds this like, oh, but I should be in my natural state of joy, right? Oh, and I don't know, I just like this kind of like in tennis when you, I'm a tour so much, but I've seen it a couple of times, you go pack, but in between each play of the racket, you go back to the center line to be ready for the next left or right or back or forward. And you go back to the center line and back to the center line. And I do feel that the center line is emptiness, is vacuity, is nothingness. And when I am not well, or when I am well, there are layers added on top of that emptiness. And when I say empty, to me, it's not like scary. There's no even scariness in that emptiness. There's nothing, but pure potential. So that's why I wanted to challenge you.
Yeah, I mean, both can be true or are true, and I just want to specify that when I said natural, I wasn't referring to our humanness. I was referring to our more subtle, like to our soul reality, to the part of us that is unphysical, always connected to source energy, and to the creation itself, in a way of this energy of God that is so excited to discover more of itself.
I'm gonna keep challenging this.
Okay.
I wonder if, and this is like maybe just two semantics, just a question of words, but I wonder if joy is a human experience, and if on the higher planes of our self, soul over soul, or as close we get to source, there's so many layers and dimensions. Maybe they have an experience of emotion that is less fragmented. Like, for example, one day I had this visual of my heart space being like this wheel that had this spinning wheel, and I experienced this bliss, this incredible bliss. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then when it slowed down, I started to feel different clicks, and each click was like a specific emotion: joy, anger, sad, click, 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 click. And I really felt it. And then it spun again really quickly. And then I started refeeling that immense bliss again. And that kind of taught me how, if we remove time, we have all of these experiences all at once. And it's with time that we can slow everything down to experience aspects of the universe, or the emotional sphere, fragments at a time. So I don't know if this gives an answer to anything. So yeah, it's like when we're in our full, when we're in touch with it all, when we're letting it all come in, it's like this high voltage of bliss, or whatever we want to call it. Maybe like maybe joy is just a smaller, a more diminished version, intensity than bliss. Yeah, I don't have anything more smart to say.
I mean, you're sharing your experience, and it doesn't make me feel like my own experience is not valid, you know. I it's when I'm sharing that, I'm sharing my own embodied experience, and when I tune in with the more subtle like reality of my soul and the part of me that is still connected to the whole, I do feel ecstasy. So, and it doesn't mean that this is the truth, but this is my truth.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. So do you have like a personal hygiene in your life on about playfulness? Like, do you have activities that you do on purpose, or do you make life choices on purpose with that alignment?
Yeah, I do have those reflections about what brings me joy, of course. And I intentionally create space in my schedule to practice those activities. To me, it's circus a lot, moving my body in a playful way, dance, and just be surrounded with other like spiritually connected people, or like-minded soul, of like spaces where I can share myself freely, and yeah, what else? Being in nature. There is so many different sources of play. And I won't lie neither. I mean,
You won't what?
I won't lie.
Oh, please don't lie.
I was born into this very ego-centered world, and I still have all those shoulds and those worries about money and survival and whatever. So I do have to check in with myself regularly and make sure that I take action from a place that is inspired and not the place that is fear-based.
When you catch yourself in a fear-based state, what do you do?
I just hold myself in love. Fear is a friend. Fear is there to help us survive. And it was useful at some point. So it's kind of like old memories and old way of operating that are still active. So to me, it's about forgiving myself and thanking the fear to do its work, and then let go. And when you let go, there is this clearing that's created, this void you referred to, where there is choice. And then, yeah, on purpose, call in some energies or some intentions.
Angels.
What about you?
How do I have a hygiene of bringing playfulness into my life? Of course you're gonna ask me the question. Good thing I was listening to you, not thinking of my answer. Let's see. So the first thing I thought of is my dog. I know you have a dog too, but my dog is a playing machine, and cuddling. I have to say I spend more time cuddling than playing, and I think it does speak of, I do believe I have to watch out for myself. I am naturally really playful, but sometimes I can go into my should mind and stop my playfulness. And so having Kin, who wants to play all the time, my dog, forces me to get out of my head, or at least show me when I'm in my should mind. Because at that moment, when I'm in my should mind and she comes, I'm so annoyed. Can't you tell I'm busy? And that's a good telltale sign that I'm not in my playful mind. So that's a good way for me. And I'll go take walks with her, I'll go play with her, throw the ball and all this stuff. For myself, I have to say the second thing that comes to me, I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy, but I watch shows. I watch shows that make me laugh, that make me happy, that are light. When I do feel the need when I do feel the need to be more playful, but maybe I'm tired or I don't have the will to be an empowered place of creation, I'll watch funny shows. But otherwise, when I am in a place where my will is very like, I have enough of it to go and create, I love to draw my ideas, my feelings. And I really draw without the worry of it has to be pretty. I really draw with like, oh, I want to do this. And following that will often lead me into a deeper process of being in touch with what's going on internally, emotionally, my needs, my deeper emotions, coming out of the status quo mind. It's like, oh, everything's all right. Or I mean, not everything's all right, but whatever. It leads me to my capacity to be more honest in a deeper level, all the different layers and stuff. I kind of go around. Sometimes I play the ukulele. Like I kind of have these phases of what I'm learning right now. So that's one way also that I find that I'm playful. And with my partner, we love, like, we wrote a play together and we went on stage with it. And like, to me, that is super playful, coming from our imagination, creating these characters in this world. Yeah, that's like the inner child playfulness, the responsible adults meeting together and then creating entertainment for people. Like, bliss. Yeah, I'd stop at that. But I'd want to add that, yeah, sometimes it's like, it's training to be in playfulness. Even though we came from an abundance of playfulness, we now have to watch out for the lack of playfulness in our lives.
Totally.
And I do have a challenge that I am working with this, like, I have these layers of shoulds, these layers of, oh, to survive, I must be on top of it. I must manage so many things. And that came from, I'm scared, this came from a place of scarcity and I need to control. And there's no room for playfulness. Like I can get so rigid. And so it is something that I have phases that are much better with it. And there are phases where I need reminders. And like, I want to say, Anouk, you bring so much joy and playfulness to my life, and you spoke about it earlier too. You surround yourself with people that uplift you. And I think that's a big part of it, like you bring so much joy and playfulness and the divine child. And so, yeah, making sure we have enough of those in our life and spending time with them and creating moments with that too. And like, also, in personal hygiene is being careful who we spend time with and what are they doing. Are they a party of complaints? Are they a party of just consumption with just no intention in the consumption other than forgetting the day or the week, right? Like, these are okay. There's nothing wrong intrinsically with those, but are they supporting you being uplifted? Is it supporting you with what you need today at that moment? And sometimes it is exactly what you need. A light, no deep entertainment with your friends. Don't consume too much, keep your consciousness clear if you can. But sometimes we don't need that. Sometimes we need to either find one friend or ourselves, a good book, or do whatever we need at that moment to connect with our inner joy. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with solitude. Playfulness can definitely be a solo experience, which then we can share with others.
Yeah, I feel so playful when I'm just walking into the woods and like connect with like nature spirits and just observe flowers blooming and leaves falling during autumn season, and watching snow, like wind blowing the snow, just like observing nature makes me connect with a sense of magic and sense of play.
Totally. Like as you speak, I'm reminded of something I wanted to say earlier, which is to treat the outer universe, what seems to be like the other, which is a person or nature or just the outer world, to treat the universe as our best friend who's always trying to play with us.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, maybe right now it looks like I'm talking to Anouk, and I could really be like, oh, this is Anouk. This is this very clear fragment, individuated, willful being. But it's also an expression of the universe. Through playing and creating with Anouk, I'm playing and creating with the universe. And yeah, this one is a very pleasant experience. And maybe there's other players which bring more difficult games, more challenging games. But they're still to allow ourselves to be in the optic that it's still a game, that it's still the universe being like, oh yeah, last week you said such and such and such. Let's play with this. Let's test this week. Let's see if you're really, into it. I find that the universe is playful this way, not necessarily as a test or a challenge, but is just always listening and echoing and mirroring and take this with a lighter note, with a little more humor. Oh, damn, I'm again in this kind of relationship. I thought I was done. Ha 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 ha. No, here's another opportunity for you to get lighter about it. I love my relationship right now. I am so happy. I feel like I've worked on my things inside of me that liberated space for this awesome partner to come, and then we're both evolving together, but there's so much playfulness in here, so much room for the inner child. So I just wanted to say that.
Nice.
So,
and it's also, sorry, but it's also a good example of the importance of balance between healing and transformation, and go explore our shadow with a touch of playfulness, as we said, create space for more of us, of more of what we want to show up into our lives.
Clearing shadow. Because shadow is like a program, a pattern, a distortion that's in our field, right? And when we go look at it, well, we alter that distortion. Maybe we release it completely, or at least we charged it differently with memories and emotion and stuff. And so it creates a new way to manifest into our life.
Totally.
Yeah. So remember to play with your shadow, because it's playing with you. No, I'm kidding. Wow. Right now, I'm just feeling quite complete with this conversation.
Yeah.
And very curious to have your take on playfulness. Where do you see that there's room in your life for it? Where would you wish to have more room for it? And I'd be also curious if there's anything that we shared today that give you an out, give you an opening to let in more love, more self-love, more ease. I'd love to hear or read about it. I want to know what impact we're having. And we want this to be a conversation. We want to have this conversation with you, but in front of you and with you.
Totally. Okay, so thank you so much for listening, for being a part of it, and for sharing your thoughts and inspiration and inspire us back. And see you for the next conversation.
See you for the next one. Hey, wasn't that interesting? What did you think? We certainly hope that something opened up for you and that you know and love yourself even more.
We surely want to witness your insights and transformation, so please share with us what you got out of it. You'll find our social media links in the description.
Stay tuned for the next alchemical conversation.
Take care, beautiful star being.